Love and Happiness's mission is to help 1 million couples. Dr. Vandy and Barbara Colter are committed to reaching this goal. Love and Happiness has helped thousands over the years through their couples retreats hosted in various cities. Their popular Central Florida TV show, Love and Happiness, has been syndicated in several states. Their best-selling book, Love and Happiness: The Secrets to Creating Winning Relationships, has helped singles and couples alike learn how to build better relationships. It's no surprise that the Colters are in high demand. Relationship subject matter experts featured on talk shows and national radio looking for real relationship talk. The Colters' virtual retreats, social media platforms, Facebook live streams, and relationship masterclasses have put their mission to help 1 million couples in their sights. Dr. Vandy Colter, Ph.D., a certified counselor with presidential status in the American Association of Christian Counselors, has a virtual counseling practice that serves CEOs, pastors, entrepreneurs, individuals, and couples who want their relationship to go from bad to good or good to great. Dr. Vandy has been featured on Fox, CBS, NBC, their national affiliates, and various media for the impact from his virtual counseling as a response to the relational health crisis during the COVID pandemic. Dr. Barbara Colter, real estate investor and serial entrepreneur, complements and contributes to what makes Love and Happiness the perfect blend of real talk and fun. Our motto is no one gets their happily ever after. They create their happily ever after. After the hurt, after the disappointment, you can still be happy. And Love and Happiness is just what you need to have.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Happy Saturday, Facebook family. How are you guys doing?
Welcome. We got some good stuff today.
Yeah.
As always, it's always some great relationship stuff. It's so good because this is one of those things that is like, I think, hypertension, a silent killer in relationships.
Absolutely.
Relationships die fast when it's just filtered with a lot of positive negativity. So we're going to talk about how to speak life-giving and positivity into a relationship and how you may be contributing to the death of the relationship
and not even know it.
And not know it.
Because you're just so used to how you think and how you talk and communicate. Yes. Sometimes we get into a situation where we're not even making excuses. We become that. We're not trying to be better on purpose, but why your relationship needs intentional positivity.
Right. And you shouldn't be calling us. You should be just tuning in because us ain't talking to anybody right now except everybody here. So just do us a tremendous favor, and instead of trying to call and just share it.
Meet us on Facebook. Join us here.
It's too easy.
That is too easy. Okay, y'all know the deal on Saturday.
So let's talk about this, Dr. Barbara Colter.
Okay, doctor.
All right, let's talk about the dynamic with regards to negativity.
We want to address that first.
Yeah, well, because it's the sickness,
right?
You know, before we talk about the medicine,
you have to diagnose the sickness and address the pink elephant, the cancer.
Yes.
How you want to? Oh, that makes sense.
Okay. To make sure everybody can kind of recognize that, you know what, I am sick with it, if that makes sense. So with regards to the negative, why does it take so much effort for people to be positive
and little effort to be negative?
Yes.
Because it's almost like a baby. You don't have or a child. You don't have to teach them to like be naughty. Right. That's in our DNA. It's in our nature. You got to teach someone to be good. You got to teach someone, like you always say, how to treat you. So I mean, being negative. Sometimes we become. Society has become accustomed to it because of the events that's happening, and it's so much easier to focus on the negative in life versus the positive. And I think it's easy for some couples to focus on what you're not doing or what she's not doing, what he's not doing, instead of celebrating the little things. Yeah, you know that he or she are doing in the relationship. And sometimes it's just easier because of the mindset of the individual to focus on, like, you know, what we don't have versus what we do have, or the situations that, you sometimes, you always say, we carry things into relationship. We carry our last boyfriend or our last girlfriend. We carry our parents in the relationship.
But let's talk about what we don't know, right? Because let's say they're carrying those things,
right?
But they're not realizing they're affecting the relationship right now. One of the things when we were talking about this that triggered, I thought this would be a great topic, is you had said, sometimes the negativity can become a ritual.
Yes.
So talk about that a little bit.
Well, because the negativity becoming a ritual means it's something you practice. You practice a ritual is something you practice over and over and over. It's like religiously. There it is. And it's like you do it like Muslims. They have to pray 5 times a day, and they sit and they consecrate themselves to doing that. So they do that on purpose. And sometimes being negative is a ritual for some people. They don't want to be happy. I've met people where, they had a little cloud over their head. It's always negative. It's always depressing. When they come in a room, everything gets dark. And sometimes people
they build a habit.
They build a habit.
An unconscious habit that no matter what their mate says, generally, because I'm sure there's some good there on some days, but generally they tend to filter it through a negative lens,
right.
Where it's not as glaring as somebody with issues when you say good morning and they say what's good about it. Right. It's not as clear as that. That person, you immediately say, wow, you got some issues. But a lot of times when your mate is trying to tell you what they're doing, you might respond with, well, it's about, man, I'm glad it's about time. You should be, and you don't realize that's negative. Right. Undermining the quality of a conversation with negativity can be a habit that's almost like a ritual. It's
always something negative. It's not positive. You're not growing together. You're growling at that person all the time. It's like, well, then why are you with them if you only see the negative?
And just because we're going to stay close to time, but we have a great announcement to make. I want to go right to the real meat and really talk about this in a real strong context. So what I'm looking at in the context of this whole intentional positivity kind of dynamic is to answer the question, why does it take that much effort to be intentionally positive? So one of the things that it does affect, or you got to understand is a lot of people think they need to reprogram their mind in order to be positive. Like I got to reprogram myself because I'm negative. But I would argue that you don't have to reprogram your mind, that the issue is your mind was never properly programmed in the first place. So you never had an intentional thought in the relationship. All of the negativity is reactive. I'm reacting from the beginning, from the very beginning of you just thinking, hey, we're supposed to be in love, but you never programmed, how am I going to respond if something weird happens? You just don't do that. You just think about, do I like her? Does she like me? What are we doing? You think about that. So what I'm really going to discuss is why people actually end up creating these negative habits. And they don't realize that they have to reprogram, just fixing all my stuff here. They have to reprogram how they think about everything. They have to reprogram. They have to be intentional, right? So when you recognize that I have to be reprogramming, what you're really saying is that I have to reprogram my mind when it comes to being positive on purpose. In advance, you got to start thinking, how do I positively react to the person I love instead of reacting negative, okay? Because a lot of times there's never really a program in our mind for how we're going to react. We just react to the situations, the frustrations, the disappointments, the resentments. We just start reacting, and then that turns into an automatic response. And we don't realize that we're always like waiting for the other shoe to drop, always waiting for another issue. So we're like, okay, something is as soon as they start talking, you're like, here we go again. That's an automatic response. As soon as they start talking, you're listening, like, get to the part when you tell me what I'm not. That's an automatic response.
Right.
You've already programmed yourself
to think that's going to be a negative
by
issue.
Your reaction. Right. And the automatic thought process that they aren't even aware they have they can never take responsibility for it. So they're like, I'm not negative, because they can't take responsibility for it because they don't even know it's automatic now. No matter when the person says something, the other person hears it as, you know what? Soon as they start speaking, they're like, here you go, being bossy again. Or here you go, always trying to tell me what I'm not. And they automatically kind of paint the mate a certain way. Automatically say, you're the villain, you're the bad person. And once you are automatically doing that, it births, and here's the greatest problem, continual negative thoughts. Negative thoughts. You just walk around with negative thoughts. And if you're having negative thoughts, you have to take the time to start addressing it. You have to realize that if all you're doing is thinking about what's wrong with the relationship, then some of this is also what's wrong with you.
Right.
What do you think about that?
I think that's an excellent, description of what some people are experiencing when it comes to being in a relationship, and the person is just, you can't make them happy because they're not happy.
Right.
And it's that their filter is off.
Right.
And so I agree with that 100%. Until they change, swap out the negative for the positive way of thinking, they're going to always filter their themselves and their partner in that negative light.
Yeah.
And so, being intentional, you're going to have to put an effort in, just like, I said earlier, the Muslims, they pray 5 times a day. Be intentional on, being positive. I'm going to say 2 positive things to my mate. I'm going to say positive things to myself.
Right.
Because you can't be positive to someone else and you're feeling negative about yourself.
Yeah. So with that, right, there's, in psychology, there's 2 systems of thought. Okay. And one is automatic. Okay. That automatic system of thought where you just like, it happens automatically. So for example, depending on the personality or the person, their response to conflict is fight or flight. That's automatic. It's just automatically I fight, automatically I fly, right? So that's like an unconscious, but it's an automatic response. So if you're in a relationship with somebody who is operating with already, they're on automatic seeing negativity.
Right.
They're on automatic with looking at you like you're the bad girl or the bad guy, or they're on automatic seeing all your flaws. They got X-ray vision to see all you, and they have like lead blocking their X-ray to see themselves, right? That individual will never take responsibility that they're even being negative because it's on automatic. It's not even, they're not a bad person. You if your mate is negative, you can kind of take a step back and breathe and say, it's not that they're crazy. It's now an automatic response for them to see the negative.
So do you think that automatic response for them automatically see the negative it's not just with their mate? I believe that they're, could it be that they look at everything that way? Not just because if you have someone who has that type of psyche, that mindset, I believe it goes beyond the mate, the spouse. I believe that something definitely is like broken inside them, and they're hurting, and they're processing everything through that filter of hurt. So would it be fair to say they're going to find negativity in their job, negativity somewhere else in their family, every area of their life? If you look, instead of seeing prosperous fruit, you're seeing seeds and fruit of negativity. But that spouse, since you're right there with them, they're getting the full brunt of it. What do you think about that?
I think it's a clear yes and no.
Okay.
I think there's some people who are, when they start getting into automatic negativity, they start to look at everything through negative lens.
Right.
Then there's other people who can only see their negativity in their relationship, and they seem to be miss the positive or miss congeniality in other spaces where everybody's like, and the mate is looking at them like, you're so negative to me, but boy, you're so wonderful to everybody else. So I do think it's a little bit of both with regards to it. But what I think the most important thing is for whoever's the person who is feeling their mate is negative, is if you take a step back and realize that they have been reacting to certain things and processed it to the point that it's negative automatic. It's just, I see it that way, right? So that's the first system of thought, is our automatic one. And that's where a lot of our unconscious competency or incompetency lies. That's where we either do it right without trying, or we do it wrong all the time and we're not even woke. We don't even know, right? But then the other system of thought is when you are actually being more mature, more enlightened. And that's the thought where you control your reactions. And you're literally thinking about premeditating about what you're going to do in light of certain situations, where you can then start, in many ways, you can call programming a response. So if I know my mate always is coming down on me in a certain way, and instead of me filtering it like, y'all, you just always come down on me, I can change my perspective to simply say, this time when they come down on me, I'm going to ask them, why are you coming down this way?
But what if that person right now, because their filter is broke, it's clogged, it's not working correctly. So are they going to have enough reasoning to say this and articulate why they're coming at the other person? Do you think?
That's a great point. So let's say they don't.
Okay.
But your negativity is killing you because you keep thinking negative about the relationship. Okay. Again, by taking control, this is where your own maturity comes in, to take control of your thoughts. You're going to start thinking more healthy things. Let's say you only have, and I'm just using an example. Let's say you only have, 50,000 minutes of thinking time. Right? Let's say, whatever that number is. Let's say you got 50,000 minutes or 100,000 minutes. No, in the course of a day. Okay. Minutes in the course of a day. Okay. Let's say you have 100,000 minutes, and I'm just using the arbitrary number. 100,000 minutes of thinking time. How much of your thinking time does the person who is thinking negative about their mate think negative about their mate? Whatever amount of time they think about their mate, if they think about their mate a third of that time, so 33,000 of that 100,000, right? They're going to be thinking negative thoughts. So when I'm thinking negative, like, boy, they don't understand me, or I'm just tired of how this is, or they never get it right, or they don't take responsibility. If they're spending their whole time because the other time is spent on other thoughts, right? Okay. If all the relational time is thought about negative, it's going to be hard in the conversation with the person to produce something positive. It's going to look like that. So you really, and that's why we called it intentional positivity. You really have to be intentional. And you can use this on people on the job or anything. Because if you spend, 2,000 minutes of time thinking about negative people on your job, that means it's going to always be negative to you. But you can create healthy choices by focusing or refocusing in positive ways to just say, you know what, I'm going to think positive about it. So if I'm going to think positive, what I'm saying is I care enough about me not becoming defiled and discouraged and disappointed. I know what's happening is wrong, but I don't have to spend my time thinking about it all the time as wrong. So for example, if I'm driving in traffic, me being from New York, I used to hate traffic initially, because New York traffic, I don't care what y'all say about Florida, you don't know traffic till you go to, you could sit on the bridge. I sat on the bridge, the Brooklyn Bridge, one time in the middle of the night when I'm partying. I'm on the bridge that takes 3 minutes to cross. I'm on it for like 4 hours, and there wasn't even an accident. Whoa. It just was volume. It just was like, really, I used to hate traffic. That's why traffic, it don't bother you. It doesn't bother, but that's not why it stopped bothering me. When I lived in New York, and I didn't do this consciously, I just, as I look at this conversation, I can draw from that. I started looking at traffic as different. I did, and honestly, it was as I became a babe in Christ, and probably my experiences with my first wife being killed in a car accident, I started as a young Christian saying, God is protecting me from something. And all of a sudden I got peace in the traffic. All of a sudden it felt different. When I'm sitting in traffic, I would just say, okay, if this car's in front of me going slow, I think God's protecting me from something. Maybe there's a car about to jump a light. And I began to rationalize a different process versus really, come on, that type of thing. And I found myself all of a sudden getting more comfortable with the season of traffic instead of overwhelmed and negative. So by the time I get where I go, hey, how you doing? Traffic. And I'm spending all my energy on negative experience in the traffic. And if you do that in a relationship and just say, you know what, right now I'm always focusing on the negative, but if you start looking at it different and say, you know what, but this is somebody I love. This is somebody that I think when we can kind of work through this, we can be happier, and start thinking about what it's going to take to be happier instead of everything they're not. You probably can start to find a little piece. Does that
That makes a lot of sense. I love that.
Yeah. So I think that if you know you in your season, you got to know yourself. You got to be not full of yourself. You have to know, am I really negative right now? Am I really positive?
And look at the fruit you're producing. Look at the fruit and go, okay, I can admit it. I got it, because you can lie to everybody else, but you can't lie to yourself. Yeah. You know what you are. Yep. You know.
Take that negative, redirect it, and think positive. Take that negative and say to yourself, you know what? I might be kind of negative, but and I don't like what I'm dealing with, but I have to start being intentionally positive. I have to start thinking positive on purpose.
Life back into my relationship, because it's just like you said earlier. People don't know they have hypertension until some people don't know until they faint. Until they at the doctor's office. It's like, whoa, here's the medication. But just be intentional on just trying to breathe life back into that situation that's wrecked, because it's not cool to stay with someone 10, 20, 30 years.
Miserable.
Right. You love them because you're your family, but you're not in love. You're not their friendship is dead and everything like that. So I think that's, to be intentional, it's going to take effort. It's going to take, just changing your mind, like you said, and just, okay, I'm going to say two things positive. I'm going to not be negative.
Like on our website, loveandhappiness.tv, there is a free speed intimacy test. That free speed intimacy test is really literally a snapshot of this conversation. It forces you to focus on what's positive about your mate. And it forces your mate to focus on what's positive and good about you. And sometimes just taking your eyes off what's negative allows you to just reconnect and feel like, okay, I remember why we connected. I highly recommend you take it. It takes 5 minutes to take this speed intimacy test. And, we do it at our retreats, and that speaks about the announcement we're about to make. But you should sometimes replace all that negative energy with some thinking about, hey, let's talk about why we're together. Let's talk about what we could be. Let's talk about how much better we can be together than if we're apart. And just put intentional energy and effort into being positive. Yeah. So we got an announcement to make. We're excited, because it's the beginning of a lot more to come. I got to give my wife, Dr. Barbara, the credit for this, because I would have overlooked this, because I guess in this regard, I was being more macro than micro. So we are announcing to you all, it's not even on our website yet. It'll be on the website by Monday, and announced to the world and all of that. But we figure, since you take the time to watch us on Facebook, this is one of the benefits that you can jump on, get ready, figure it out, or check out and see if it's what you would love to do. So we are hosting our first of many to come of our small group couples retreats. Yeah. And the dates, it's 2 dates that we're doing it. So you have 2 windows to fit in. It only allows 10 couples in each day to be with us for 4 days, 3 nights in a mansion here in Central Florida. That's really amazing. And it's going to have a lot of social connect, where you connect with other healthy couples. It's going to have workshops specific to communication and intimacy. It's called Let's Stay Together, and this is the Valentine's Day edition.
Yes, Valentine's.
And yes, it's going to be Valentine's Day, Orlando. Right. Yes, indeed. So the 2 dates are going to be starting the week before Valentine's and then the week into Valentine's. And if you are interested in a healthy time, a fellowship, you'll have one-on-one time with us, because we're there. We're staying at the mansion with you. We're there. We'll see you in the morning. We'll see you in the evening. We're going to have a sweethearts all white dance for Valentine's Day. What else are we having?
Games. We're having fellowship. We're having workshops. It's going to be so
You're going to get trained. You're going to get empowered. You're going to reconnect. You're going to have time for yourself and your couple to enjoy an amazing villa.
Creating relationships.
Yeah, so, and the villa has all kinds of amenities where, you'll be able to do everything. If you just want to get into some water, if you just want to get into some activities, all of it's going to be included with your registration. It's going to be just amazing. We're super excited about it. I can tell you the dates. It's the first one starts on February 11th, which is a Sunday.
That
No, I'm sorry, the 11th, that Friday. Thank you. And then you would check out on Valentine's Day, and then there's another group that we're gonna have coming in on Valentine's Day, and they will go for 4 days and 3 nights. So it's gonna be amazing when you see all of what you get and how it's gonna be powerful. The only thing you need to know, and this is why we're telling you, is that there are only 10 couples gonna be available. It's only gonna be available for. So first come, first serve. But we got some cool things. If you paid off first, you pick in the Villa Mansion your accommodations first. You get the, so there won't be no way you can pick favoritisms or something. If you paid off first, you get first. So technically 20 people can do it. Yeah. But in each segment, 10 at a time. Right. And it's pretty cool because if you pick your space, you got your space. If you're there in the space, you're gonna have an amazing time. So we're thrilled because this will be the beginning of many more. And these small group couples retreats allow that real personal, intimate time of fellowship. And we're just so excited. And we will
announce more on next Saturday.
Well, by next Saturday, if you haven't seen it on our website or social media, it's because you really aren't even in tune with us. And you probably wasn't going to come anyway. But you're going to see everything. Absolutely. If you're not on our email list, go to our website, loveandhappiness.tv. That way you can get early notification, because what we're going to do first, and this is the last piece I'll tell you, is everyone who's on our email list, we count as part of our tribe, as our family. They are going to get it 3 days before it airs on social media and everything else. So we have several thousand people on our email list. They're going to get it first. Now, in theory, if they all open their email, by the time we announce it, it will already be sold out, in theory. But if they are not, because there's a real rule of thumb that if you give 1,000 people an email at the same time, that there's only like maybe 2%, 3% that open it. So everybody doesn't open everything at the same time. I'm guilty of that too. I'll check an email and it'd be like, oh my God, this is great. Oh man, it expired. I don't know if you ever did that, but I do that. So it's pretty cool that you can go on and then you can look for the email. That email will go out today, which is why I said you will know on Monday, the rest of the world will know. But that email is going out today to those on our email list. And it's not going to go out till later this evening, about 5, 6 p.m. But when that email goes out, those people will have an opportunity. They'll see it all. They'll see the accommodations. They'll see all of what everything I said, all of what's included. It's just crazy. And they'll have the opportunity to take advantage. We are going to create at least a payment plan of maybe breaking it down for 2 payments. The only thing that we're going to let them know is how that works. Right. I'm a real detailed person.
But we'll give it to. I am too.
I apologize.
But that's TMI right now. We'll give it to you later.
Just
go to our website. That's it.
Right,
that's it.
I stand corrected. I thank you, because I'll give you every little nuance. I'll be like and. All right.
Not
so we're
right
good.
Now. Yes.
So we're good. She really saying that because she got an appointment. She got to be somewhere.
Still not right now.
She ain't that interested. Now. She's really like, I got to go. All right, we go. All right, we'll see you later, and we look forward to connecting next week. All right, bye-bye.